Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. My name is Peter Loshak. Today is Thursday, December 6th, and we have UFC 231 coming up this weekend, a stacked card from Toronto, Canada, and we are going to preview the main card from a betting and odds perspective with the most impressive MMA handicapper from the entire Loshak in the Bag Show family, Animarak, a.k.a. Clint. Animarak, of course, came to us as a member of the comment section in the Low Bag Show, blew us all away with his MMA analysis and picks, and now is a regular contributor here at SBR, continues to blow us away, and all week long, he's been telling us how excited he is to break down this card from betting and odds perspective, UFC 231. Clint, are you still as excited as you were earlier in the week, or has the excitement maybe waned just a little bit?
Not at all. The closer we get to the fight, the more excited I get. Coming off of a really hot weekend for the Ultimate Fighter finale, I had a 3-0 sweep, UFC Fight Night 143. I actually didn't have a great night with picks, but if you recall, I picked Shogun, and he was a plus 400 underdog, and he came through, so we're still rolling here.
Didn't he make up for any losses you could have had that night? Again, Rua, we talked about that one in that video last week, and, I said I was leaning Rua as well at that line. Did not have the balls to give it as an official pick. Animarak did, and, of course, that one cashed. So didn't that make up for all the other losses you might have had in that card?
Absolutely. I think I went 2-4-1, something like that, so still had a nice positive night because of Hua.
Yeah, there you go. 2-4-1. If one of those twos is a plus 400, you had a good night. Unless one of those fours is a minus 500. That's why odds are so important. This is not about who's going to win. This is about likelihoods of who's going to win and what's going to happen relative to what the odds the market is offering. And let's start off with Brian Ortega, Max Holloway. Everyone's discussing this fight ad nauseum. I've seen strong opinions on both sides, as you would expect, saying Holloway's going to roll, Ortega's going to roll. It's split down the middle, 50-50. The odds are very, very close. Holloway right now is an underdog, though. Money has come in on Ortega, right? Opened as a small dog. Now, market-wide, he is the small favorite. Best line right now would be minus 110 at Pinnacle at Bookmaker for Ortega, but he's minus 111 at Pinnacle. So a clear market movement flipping Holloway from a favorite to a small dog. Holloway, though, of course, hasn't lost since McGregor beat him, reeling off 12 consecutive wins, but Ortega's been awesome. Really hard to see either of these guys losing. I'm not even going to ask you who you think is going to win this fight, Animarak. I'm going to ask you, who can you see losing this fight?
You know what? This fight is super close, and it's very interesting. Normally, this would be a super easy buy low spot on the champion, Max Holloway. But given all of his health issues and things like that have been going on over the last year or so, I think he's the guy that stands a chance to lose it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this. What's your take on Holloway's health issues? Because as we know, he had concussion issues, and then he had another health issue that made him pull out of his next fight after that. Do you put Holloway's health at 100% here, or still some question mark?
Lots of question marks. Lots of question marks. He pulled out trying to make a short notice fight, could not cut the weight in the amount of time, and really messed him up. He had the concussion issues. There's actually a tweet that went out on December 4th. That tweet got deleted where Max Holloway said that he wasn't feeling great. Brian Ortega replied immediately saying, "Are you kidding me?" And that tweet doesn't exist anymore. So if that tells you anything, he's not 100%. Yeah,
so I'm looking at this one. I'm thinking, Ortega is so dangerous as his submission game is so dangerous. I'm thinking if Holloway wins this one, probably it comes by decision. If there's a finish, probably it's because Ortega gets the finish, maybe by sub. What betting value do you see any which way? I could see maybe a prop Holloway by decision, hedged out maybe with Ortega by sub as having some kind of value. I don't even know if this fight is likely to go the distance or not. My only assessment is that if it goes the distance, probably that means that Holloway is more likely than not to win. If it finishes inside the distance, probably that means that Ortega is more likely than not to have been the one who finished it. Do you agree with my assessment? Disagree? What's your take on this one for anyone looking for betting value? Clint.
I disagree slightly. This fight reminds me a lot of TJ Dillashaw versus Cody Garbrandt 2. Two super high-level finishers. The beating that these guys can put on another man is just unreal. Nobody can take it. This fight's not going the distance. Both of these guys can finish inside the distance, both with knockout power, both with submission ability. I don't see either of these guys fighting to win by decision. I would take either one of them inside the distance if you're leaning a particular side.
Because I'm thinking Holloway is going to be very, very cautious here. He's masterful fighting at a distance, right? That's what he does really well. And, he knows how dangerous Ortega is. He's got to know. I think he's going to try to use his advantage dictating this fight with his distance control, and that's probably going to be his likely game plan. You think Holloway is going to come in here looking for a finish?
He always looks for the finish. And he does take his time. He does play with his food. If you look at the two Jose Aldo fights, he finished both of those in the third round, because he was kind of piecing Jose Aldo up until he saw him dip just a little bit, and then he went for the kill. I think this thing finishes early, it's Ortega, or it finishes late, and it's Holloway.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that Holloway is going to be so scared of Ortega's submission game, and then of course his stand-up when he went against Edgar was impressive. So I'm assuming that Holloway is going to be a little bit cautious here. All right, we have a total of 3.5 rounds. The fight is scheduled to go 5 rounds, of course. Again, Ortega opened as a small dog. Now he's a small favorite. What would you recommend here? Play on the under 3.5 rounds if you had to recommend a play, and let us know if you're going to make anything official here.
If I had to go under or over, I would probably lean on the under at 3.5. I'd lean over if it was set at 2.5. But realistically speaking, I'm just going to take a side here. I like Brian Ortega. The articles that I write for SBR, I put Brian Ortega out as my pick while he was still at an underdog price earlier in the week. I would ride with him as a slight favorite here too. I wouldn't blame anybody for taking the underdog price with Holloway. Like I said, it's a great buy low spot on the champion. It's hard to pass those up. But I lean Ortega just because of all the question marks with Max Holloway's health issues.
All right, and it is interesting. Ortega just to win is -110. Inside the distance right now, 5 dimes plus 136. So you're not getting that much added payout if you take Ortega inside the distance. Is Ortega by decision a realistic possibility here?
I don't think so, but I don't think you're getting enough value on the inside of the distance to run that risk.
All right, great analysis. Clint, a.k.a. Animarak from the Loshak in the Bag Show. He's going to go with Ortega, currently at -110, although if you tailed his play in the article he wrote for SBR Odds, you got a better line. Congratulations on beating the line movement for now. We'll see where this line closes. For now, you have definitely beat the line move. Co-main event is Joanna Jędrzejczyk against Shevchenko, and this is another fascinating showdown here. Obviously, Shevchenko should be the substantial favorite here. She's used to fighting bigger fighters. She has a reach advantage, and she's just awesome all around in her game. How big of a favorite, though, should she be, though? Right now, she's around -340 or so, -600, -1,000. At some point, she would be too big of a favorite because Jędrzejczyk is no slouch. She can end a fight at any point. She has great stand-up. I can't see, Shevchenko losing. Can't see Shevchenko losing, but then again, I can't see Jędrzejczyk as justified as this big of an underdog. This is another tough one scheduled for 5 rounds. What are your first thoughts on this one, Clint?
My first thoughts are this fight is just too wide. Shevchenko is an awesome fighter, and I'm a huge fan of hers, actually. But she is dropping down to a new weight class, and we've seen that have some some people get a boost from it, some people get a negative from it, and who knows if she's going to be able to keep up with somebody like Joanna moving down a weight class, cutting all that extra weight. Joanna, on the other hand, is moving up a weight class, and we've only seen positive results from that. She's going to feel fresher. She's not going to have the cardio problems that she's going to have, and her punches are probably going to sting a lot more at that weight class.
Yeah, so the market has bet Shevchenko up, which is understandable because she just looks so awesome in all facets of her game. But, again, at a certain point, the line is just going to get too high. It's opened at -290, I'm seeing here at Pinnacle. Now it's up into the 340s, and maybe it is scheduled for 5 rounds. I could see Joanna catching Valentina at some point. The under 4.5 is a big dog line. You get +190 at UAger. I understand that this fight is likely to go the distance, but what do you think about maybe under 4.5 rounds at almost 2-1?
Yeah, I like that. Both of these girls are really high-level strikers here. Like I said, Joanna's going to have some more pop at the new weight class, and Valentina's a finisher. She can finish this thing by submission. She's definitely going to have that punching power. Being the bigger girl, she could knock her out and clip her. We saw Rose Namajunas do it. That under 4.5 is tempting at +190.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at this fight, I do agree that the most likely result here by far is Shevchenko by decision, but I think the market is overpricing that result. I'd be leaning Joanna, although I'm not going to bet it. I'd be leaning under, although I'm not going to bet it. I'm going to check right now what Joanna inside the distance would be. That might be a very juicy line right there. Animarak, a.k.a. Clint, a.k.a. Animarak, a.k.a. Clint. Do you have any official picks on this one?
Yeah, I'm just going to roll with Joanna. The line's too wide, and Joanna is one of those fighters you can never count out. One of the reasons this line is so wide is because they fought 3 times previously in Muay Thai, and Shevchenko won every single one of those fights. That was 10 years ago. I think they're reading a little too far into that, and I expect her to be rejuvenated at the new weight class. Even if it goes to a decision, I can see her squeaking one out here.
All right, so right now, Joanna, again, we'll see where this line closes, but as of right now, +283 is the best line at Pinnacle. Joanna inside the distance, more than 11 to 1 at 5 dimes, plus 1125, more than 11 to 1. I mean, Joanna is going to be at a disadvantage here skill-wise in certain ways, but a finish, she could easily catch her. 11 to 1. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is Shevchenko has proven to be durable.
Sure.
There's a lot of questions around Joanna moving up to this weight class. I think it's going to benefit her, definitely. But I don't know if she's going to have the kind of power it takes to finish somebody. We've seen that she is a grinder. She goes all 5 rounds. She sticks and moves. She's a volume striker. So even if she does have the power to catch her, that is a really juicy line. I think the dog line is big enough to just play her straight.
All right, Oliveira inside the distance at plus 201, current line at 5 dimes. Then we have Kyle Bochniak against Dawodu, Hakeem Dawodu. Dawodu is the favorite here, and you know Bochniak loves to brawl, and I feel like at some point in this fight, even if it doesn't result in a finish, it's going to get him in trouble. I think Dawodu is the better fighter here, pretty clearly. Does he have value at minus 160 or minus 160 or 5 or so? My assumption would be yes. You agree or disagree, Clint?
Absolutely agree. I think Hakeem Dawodu is the better of these two fighters. He's got all the physical advantages. And if Kyle decides that he wants to brawl, Hakeem is going to take advantage of that, and he can win this thing inside the distance or by decision. I like the favorite here.
All right, so that's going to be an official play. Right now, best line here at SBRodds.com would be bet online minus 164. That's a good enough line for you?
That is good enough. I'll take 164.
All right, sounds good. And then the last fight on the main card that we're going to break down right now, Jimmy Manua against Thiago Santos, and obviously two huge knockout artists here, scheduled for 3 rounds. The under is 1.5 minus 160. So the market definitely expecting a finish here and expecting it to come in the first half of the fight. Other than the fact that we're very likely to see a finish, you know, I couldn't bet on Santos. I'm sorry, I couldn't bet on Santos losing here, but I'm not sure if I'd want to lay around minus 200. That's the tricky part here. What do you think, Clint?
I'm right there with you, Pete. I see no value on this fight. They've got the line priced correctly. They know that this thing is going to end inside the distance. And Jimmy Manua's got chin issues. They're well aware of that. Thiago Santos looks good at his new weight class. I think he's going to find that chin. He's going to knock out Santos. And they've got it priced too accurately for me to make a bet.
Oh, so you think that Manua is likely to knock out Santos?
No, I apologize. The other way around. Thiago Santos is going to knock out Manua, and I see that happening relatively quickly.
Yeah, Santos inside the distance is minus 132. Santos, you know, to win though is interestingly minus 200. So there is some added value there. You don't want to take Santos. I'm not trying to push any plays on you, Clint. But what about Santos inside the distance at just minus 132 right now at 5 dimes?
I actually didn't know it was just 132. I saw it a little bit higher earlier. I'd love to take 132 inside the distance. I think that's easy money.
I don't want to push any plays on you. You know, if that one doesn't win, I don't want you to be like, no, Loshak, we were doing the video. He hornswoggled me. He bamboozled me. I didn't mean to give that. You sure you want to go with this?
No, absolutely. That's my pick. That's my read on the fight, and I thought the odds were wider than that. I will take 132.
All right, great, awesome. Clint, a.k.a. Animarak's plays are Santos inside the distance, Dawodu just to win, Oliveira inside the distance, and then Joanna just to win at about plus 283 or so. And he also likes Brian Ortega, even at the current line, at minus 110. Although, again, if you read his article at SBR Picks, at SBR Forum, he put you on a better line at plus 105. Clint, a.k.a. Animarak from the Loshak in the Bag Show. Awesome, awesome breakdown and analysis. As always, talk to you again very soon.
It was a pleasure, Pete. Thanks for having me.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.